I had to bring my phone up here with me. My boss told me if I didn't forget any of the good things he's forcing me to say, I'd get $10. So today I get the pleasure of introducing my boss, Quintin Smith, who is the president of Integrated Project Solutions. When I asked why I was chosen to introduce him, he said it was because of my warm personality. So when I looked up warm, it actually meant not too hot. So thanks for that. Anyway, Quintin was born in Florence, Alabama, and attended Bradshaw High School. After graduating, he attended school at Mississippi State University, where he completed his Bachelor's of Architecture. Quintin has two sons, Donovan and Desmond, who he's training to take over his new business in the next year or so. They are 4 and 1 years old. Quintin grew up in a small town and always wanted to design his own home, which led him to pursue architecture from a young age. He started working in architecture in Florence, Alabama at SKT Architects at the age of 17. From there, he worked in Mississippi at Ferguson and Associates, and that led him to NTD Architecture in Phoenix, Arizona. In 2008, he transitioned to construction management because he wanted to be on the building side to see everything come out of the ground. He eventually went to work for Core Construction in Arizona and moved with them to Texas when the headquarters was moved there. Quintin worked his way all the way up to president and started Point Core Construction, the joint venture between OSF Healthcare and Core Construction. After successfully starting that company and landing the largest project in company history of $1.2 billion, he decided to start out on his own owner's representative, his own company, Integrated Project Solutions, and focused on owner's representation for design and construction. It is my pleasure to introduce my boss, my mentor, and my friend, Quintin.
Thanks, Lindsay. I guess kind of hearing a little bit of that background, I forgot some of the places I've been already, so it's actually kind of scary. But no, first off, thanks everybody for having me here today. I'm really looking forward to giving a brief presentation on just a little bit of the company that I have the fortunate opportunity to work with Lindsay at, and just a little bit of how we're able to keep our company, the culture the way it is, especially in these trying times that we're having right now. So, as Lindsay mentioned, I'm president of Integrated Project Solutions. I've been around a little bit, from Alabama to Mississippi to Arizona to Illinois and back. And so, it's a fortunate honor to be in this position to be a leader and also have this opportunity of being able to start my own business and be able to have talented individuals working for me as well. So with that, just kind of go into a little quick, there we go. That's a picture of me. Nice smile on my face. A little bit of my background just overall. As Lindsay mentioned, I do have my passions in architecture. So architecture with me was always one of those things I was very passionate about. And so being able to practice from designing at a very early age, at the age of 17, I actually started doing a lot of design work at a firm in Alabama. And with that, it also comes with a lot of relatives who are building homes at that time. And I designed pretty much every last one of my aunt's homes in the state of Alabama when I was probably between 17 and 20 years old. I'm glad to say they're still standing today, so I guess I did a good job. And so it was funny actually getting to go back. I was in Alabama the past few weeks and got to see some of those homes still aging very well. So, it's been pretty exciting. But throughout that history and that time, I was able to go from, of course, home design to being able to work in the commercial space, from everything from residential to, like I said, get into commercial buildings, from, municipals, projects, and then just kind of led my career to be more into healthcare architecture at one point when I moved to Arizona. And so the big thing with that, being in architecture, one thing that I always missed was being able to see projects come out of the ground, as Lindsay mentioned. And so I transitioned to the construction side of everything so I could be there, boots on the ground. And, also had a little bit of a leg up because, I was the one that knew how to draw everything. And so I knew what the design intent, if you ever get into the construction arena, you hear architects say all the time what the design intent was. So I had a little bit of understanding of how to kind of mitigate some of those risks throughout that process. But then throughout that time period of being able to be on the design side, being able to be on the construction side, and then with that opportunity to start Point Core Construction, also learned there was one really big key piece missing. And that was really the true representation for our clients and the owners actually understanding every facet of how that process gets to work. And so, that's one of the reasons why I started Integrated Project Solutions, was to really be that consultant to the client, that liaison to really help them with that vision Whenever you have that idea of like, okay, I want to build a project, but you don't know where to start, so we have team members that have been involved every step of the way, so we can help everybody through that. So I'll click through the presentation. I don't know which button I'm not supposed to be pushing there. I might have pushed the wrong one and messed you up there. So with that, I talk about just kind of how the company started. And one of the biggest things was beginning with the vision. And then, the most important thing is how do you get that culture in the company? And that's having the people that can actually fulfill the vision that you start off with as well. So with that, beginning with the vision, Integrated Project Solutions. So Integrated Project Solutions is a company that provides solution-based professional experiences by advocating for our clients to make their ideas a reality. So what makes us different and what makes us unique in that arena? Well, we're not just a company that's comprised of individuals that are in a consulting capacity. We have individuals on our team that have been all the way in the field, that have actually been boots on the ground, putting work in place. We have architects on our team. We have actual clients that have come over to be a part of our team. We have, different individuals that have been involved in every facet of the industry as a part of our organization. And so the great thing about us, we provide a true checks and balance for our clients. So especially in the times that we have right now with escalation, prices going the way they are, we actually have individuals on our team that understand pricing probably better than some of the actual companies out there building it. We also have a little bit of a construction arm. I won't mention that one too much today, but I do have a business partner in there that, he might not have as much recognition in Illinois as he does in Texas. Ms. Smith, Hall of Famer on the construction arm. So I won't talk about him too much while I'm in Illinois right now. But so we actually do have a construction arm as well, where we are really putting work in place in Texas. So we do understand how that works. That really separates us from the competition. The great thing about that is, now when we're working with our clients, as we're working with different individuals, you think something's going to be $1 million, the contractor comes back and says it's $2 million. Well, we're that company that truly tells you where it should be, and we don't have anything to gain by making the project more than what it is. We're really truly that checks and balance. So we really help all of our clients get the best for their project moving forward. So, but the biggest thing that I want to talk about today is not necessarily just the company, but it's really about the culture of the company. And so during the times that we're in right now, everybody calling it the great resignation, and, everybody want to go off and do their own things. Everybody's struggling with finding talent and retaining talent. So how do we do that? And so that's one thing that we've been fortunate to be able to do. So throughout our organization right now, we probably have throughout the group that we're with, roughly about 100 employees. And we've been able to really get some of the top talent in the organization because we have definitely a different philosophy. We focus on our individuals in our organization before the profits. We focus on our our employees' balance of life. We focus on really our employees being able to grow throughout this organization as well, and not look at everyone as just a number and how we can succeed and benefit from them, but how can we make the best for them moving forward. So our business is all about having the most talented professional team to efficiently and effectively deliver for our clients. So if we don't have that group that really represents our best interests, then we're not going to be a great organization for our customers as well. And so focusing on our employees first and providing that culture that they're happy and successful in is really what makes us the company that we are. So how do we do it? First off, you got to get the talent. So some of the best things we can do is by hiring great talent. You got to have, great compensation, great benefits, and provide a great lifestyle. So I'm not going to go through a ton of this too much, but these are just definitely some of the stats that as a leadership team, we're constantly communicating and constantly looking at, because it's important for us to understand what's going on outside of our doors to make sure that we're retaining that talent when we get them. But as you can see, some pretty daunting stats. You got over, roughly 70% of the organization of individuals out there are looking for new jobs today. And so knowing that's going on, how do you make sure you're providing an environment that people want to stay in? So that's something that's very important. Everybody's looking for higher salaries, where there's more PTO, that flexibility of being able to work from home, so how can you make that a part of your business model? And so that's something that we really incorporated, given a lot of flexibility with our business now being based in Texas. We do have an office here in Peoria as well. Lindsay lives in Peoria. We have individuals in Texas. We also have individuals in different states. And so, making sure that we have an environment where individuals can live where they want to live and still be able to provide the services that we need to be successful is something that we really have to look at. But of course, employees are wanting great healthcare, great retirement, great PTO, so how do we make sure those things are incorporated? It's definitely something that we do. And so, one thing that we've done for a lot of our employees as well, is making sure that if you're going to be working from home, providing, workstations, so where you can actually get away from what you think is your home and be able to work, predominantly into an environment where you can step away from and be able to provide for the company and organization that's needed. So that's something that's been, very helped us throughout this time as well. But when we do have location, when we do have an actual office, make sure we're putting that office and we're kind of having people come into it where they can go out to restaurants and shops and have that proximity home, all those different things they're looking for throughout that organization as well. But one of the biggest things with, retaining talent is making sure that throughout the organization, we have this opportunity for great mobility. And so this is the organization that I lead, as you can see from this org chart, it's, kind of all over the place. It's multiple companies at one. But the biggest thing that we can show any employee when they come in is that you can grow wherever you want to grow throughout this organization. So having these 3 companies within one, Integrated Project Solutions, E.J. Smith Construction, and Copeland, which is a mechanical, electrical, plumbing company, it also gives that ability for our employees as they come in. They can be on the program management professional side. The one day they can be on the construction management side. Another day they can be out in the field doing MEP or plumbing or, different things like that. But they can come in at any position. And that graph actually showed that person at the bottom of the slide being able to go up. So, that's something that we really have that we strive for throughout our organization, is really giving people that opportunity. But then also giving our employees an ability to be challenged. That's something that a lot of individuals want as well. To come in and have that opportunity to do what you do on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes the monotony of that can get boring, but making sure that we provide an environment where you can be challenged in it as well is also something that's important. So with that, another thing that we do is we provide investment opportunities into our organization. So this is just a little bit of makeup of how we're regionally set up. Texas, is pretty much its own country. So we have it as its own region, as you can see on the map. Florida, another location, some of the southeastern states, Midwest. But with this, we also have opportunities where we're going to have more office buildings, more space. And so give our employees opportunities to invest in the company, also invest into the property that the company has to buy as well. Is something that has been something that's pretty exciting for us. And so with that, having it to where the employees that we get are not just employees, they're all owners in the organization. And so that's what we really focus on. That's what we pride ourselves on. And so that's what helps us create an environment that really strives on having the right culture. It's because when you get individuals into this organization and they have ownership in it, a lot of times if you have some bad apples, those owners at those different levels are going to help weed that out. So that's something that's very important. And so, one thing that I'll say throughout this as well, I try to keep this pretty quick, that we do this also very unique, is provide other opportunities. And so I'll give a little bit of a story of just a marketing director that we have. So I have a marketing director, and you can imagine, doing this in the construction arena, it can get old sometimes, it can get boring. You're putting together a response to a proposal, it's the same thing over and over. So it's not providing a lot of that, the talent that you wish you could from a marketing stance. And so the one thing that I want to make sure is that I don't lose this individual and don't lose the different individuals that are working for this person. And so, with our organization, we're always looking at, like I said, retaining talent. And so because of that, we end up starting another marketing company that he gets to head up, as long as I made the deal with him that, I get to use you. And so, but help him start his own business. And so, providing those partnerships is something that's also very unique, also something that's very different for us. We have different individuals in house. It's Lindsay, is a part of the team from a community relations stance, because that's something that's very important to us. It's something that we invest a lot of our time and effort into. And so, we're not just a company at the end of the day that's built on how can we make the most profits out of everything that we do, but how can we first and foremost make the best environment for our employees. And then the employees are going to go out and work as hard as they can for you and turn that company into a more profitable organization for you. So, from the culture of our organization, everything stems from the team. And so providing that best opportunity for our team to be successful. Not a lot of companies will take an employee and help them start their own business, but it's something that to us, it's important to do. And so with that, I spend a lot of time mentoring. I spend a lot of time, trying to grow other organizations to, be able to provide those different opportunities. And so companies can succeed throughout these trying times. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot of Integrated Project Solutions and just how we kind of look at things and how we keep the culture of our organization the way that it should be, so we can retain the talent as we take the time to get them as well. So.
What a surprise. It's interesting you're here this week, that you have a corporate headquarters in Texas.
Hey now, I know where you're going.
Tell us, educate us, people who are just employees, not business holders, why would a company, I don't know, some local company, maybe prefer the business environment in Texas as opposed to the construction environment here in Illinois? Hypothetical.
Hypothetically speaking, no, I mean, one of the biggest things in Texas is a very business-friendly state to work in. When it comes to the taxes of the organization, is definitely very friendly from that regard. It's also friendly from the regard of really attracting business to the area. And so there's a lot of incentives in place for, moving people to the state. They definitely help you with that. If you're investing in property in the state, they have incentives for you to do that. And so there's definitely a lot of pros to the business being in Texas and being headquartered in a state like Texas. A very pro business, if you will.
We still have water.
Quintin, how did you learn to take this approach? What inspired you to do that?
It's one of those things that I think I was fortunate enough that I picked up a lot of things along the way. And so from the business side of things, I definitely did not have I didn't go to school to be a business major or anything like that. I went to school to design buildings. But the one thing that really came to me very early on was it's all about the team. And so I very quickly realized there's only so much I can get accomplished in a day. And it is all important to me about what the team that I'm responsible for can get done. And so, as I started in architecture at 17 at a pretty early age, I was tasked very quickly with leading other individuals. And so probably by the age of 20, I was a manager in the organization I was in. I had multiple individuals up under me, so I grew departments, made those departments successful. And it was something that was just, I think, intuitive in a way that in order for me to get to the next level, I always had to have my replacement in place. And so I've looked at everything that I've done as, finding individuals or an individual that I can train to be my replacement so I can move on to the next level and have that department successful without me. And so, that's, I think, one of the biggest things that kind of led me down the path that I'm on is just always looking to make other individuals better so I can move on. And, my next step is trying to figure out how to get my 4-year-old to run the company next year so I can get out of it altogether.
So I know you're a fairly new company to the state of Illinois, but can you talk about some of the projects you've been involved in, or are there something that you can talk about that's in the works that we can get excited about?
Yeah, some of the biggest things I'll say that's interesting is when you work with an individual like Emmett Smith, that brings a lot of opportunities within itself. And so there's a lot of development opportunities. Some of them I can't disclose, but from an actual program management opportunity, I think one really important project that I can mention now is public knowledge. It's definitely been out for a little bit. It's been a little hit or miss on what we can and can't say. It's the Young Minds Project with Unity Point. And so, we have been fortunate enough to be the leader from the program management standpoint. So we're overseeing that entire project from beginning to end. And we've definitely formed a really good relationship with that entire team at Unity Point. And so working with, Dr. Knapp and the rest of the individuals over there for more projects that are coming. We're working on the Southside Mission project as well. That's another project here locally that we're working on as well. And then there are a couple of other projects where something that we get the opportunity to do is from a financing stance, which is something that's a little unique. And so from a public-private partnership, where we can bring financing to the table and actually work with public entities to get some of their wishes done. So we are in communication with a few things with the city of Peoria and even Peoria Public Schools on a couple of different things that we can bring to the table from a design build finance opportunity as well.
Great presentation. You seem really in touch with what young talent is looking for. What advice do you have to give us insight into recruiting this type of talent? Like, what do you use to find these people?
I'll be honest with you. Right now, I probably have about 300 resumes that are sitting with our team that we're looking through on a day-to-day basis. One of the most important things as far as that goes, we don't use recruiting agencies, which I know a lot of organizations do. I still just try and stick to kind of the grassroots. I have my team find individuals and then bring them in and try and have whatever kind of communication that we can with them. It gets a little trying at times. I do have a project. It's for a confidential client where I need to fill 100 positions. And so, with that, it gets a little trying, when you're trying to balance the culture of the organization with, trying to fulfill the needs for their client. But for me, the things that have worked best has really been able to get people in, get to see them face to face, but then also really sharing the company with them. And so being able to let them come in and speak to whoever they want within the organization, making it really an open door opportunity for them to ask whatever question that they can. I think a lot of times in the interview process or the vetting people out process, we keep a lot of closed door opportunities where they don't really get to see how the company truly operates. And so we really explore that opportunity, give them the opportunity to see how our company truly is and take as much time as they need. But, the other thing is, a lot of people don't want to waste time. And so a lot of times what I do is if I have an individual that I know that I want to be a part of the organization, I don't make them go through 3 or 4 or 5 interviews anymore. On interview 1, I'm ready to make them an offer at the end of that interview. It's also something that we really, keen in on. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
So just to extrapolate on what you've been saying, I'm curious, it's very interesting. So the Young Minds Project, Unity Point, they hire you to, can you be more specific as to what role your company and your people play in a project like that or others?
Yeah, absolutely. So we could just take the scenario with that one. And so in a lot of situations where we are brought in, we're brought in before anyone else. And so very, similar to that project. So before they hired an architect, before they hired, a GC, which we haven't gotten to that point yet anyway, we were actually brought to the table first. And so a lot of times we're brought in at just a, small conceptual standpoint to really help them organize the project. And so to make it as optimal as possible. And so a lot of times at the very beginning, what I do with them is take a look at their previous projects. Historically, what's been the delivery method that you've utilized. Historically, how much have you paid over on a project from bid day to the actual completion? So I'll go through and do a lot of that analyzation with them. And then based on that, I'll give them recommendations of here's different delivery methods that you can look at. If we go instead of a traditional design bid build, that, you might see a 10-15% overrun from bid day at the end of the day. Maybe we can look at a construction manager at risk scenario. And so I kind of help them with that consulting phase at first. And then if they decide to move forward with me, like they've decided, we're involved with helping them select the proper design team. And so we're involved with putting together the response, the qualifications that the design team needs. And we go through, do that entire interview process for them, come back with what our recommendation is based on everything that we found. And then we would set the schedule for that entire design process, oversee the architect throughout it, make sure everything that's done properly, that's gonna fit that budget. We set that true budget for them and we're balancing that throughout the design. And then we'll hire the contractor and then we'll oversee the entire construction process. So one of the biggest things that we do is really take a lot of times construction or design is not the core business for our client. And so we take all of that off the table. And so they don't have to worry about that. You give me a deadline, you want this building done, fall of 23, and we're gonna make it happen within these parameters. And so they can actually focus on what their core business is, which is delivering help. And so that's really the focus of us. We'll oversee the entire process. So we just bring not necessarily challenges to them. We bring challenges with some actual solutions that we can bring to kind of, make the process go along a lot faster for them.
Hey, Quintin, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you.
It's been really enjoyable. So I imagine with the footprint that you have, the geographical footprint that you have, and the challenges in attracting talent, what are some of the challenges that you've run into? And how do you get over them? Like whether it's technological, making sure that your team members have the cohesion, the resources. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's something that I'll be honest with you is probably a day-to-day challenge. I'll just be honest. Having different individuals in different locations, communication is key. And, having that open book policy, that transparency that you need, being able to make sure that everyone knows everything that's going on. So that's been one of the biggest challenges. So what we've put in place from a technology stance, we have, whether it's dashboards, whether we have, monthly reports that we give out throughout the company so people can be understanding of what's taking place. But then we also try to make sure we incorporate just really daily opportunities for us to talk. And so it's just something as simple as every morning I get on my leaders in different locations, have a 15-minute phone call with them, and then really just because we can get caught up in the day-to-day, reminding everyone to get out and do those physical touch points in those locations that we are. So, utilizing the dashboards, utilizing technology, but then utilizing opportunities for us to come together. And so also look for opportunities where I can have people in different locations meet at a different location. So we can get together and people can see other people's hometowns, projects that are going on. Another thing that map didn't show is that we did have some stuff in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. And so that kind of helps people, want to be a part of the organization as well. I put that bait out there from time to time too, so.
I speak Spanish, right?
All right.
I'm telling you, boss.
I know. He'll understand it.
He has been trying to get rid of it for a while. Any other questions?